If you thought Gypsy Rose Blanchard was now a changed woman trying to stay far away from drama, you were wrong. Recently, Gypsy has done nothing but stir up drama upon herself. Whether she's paving her way back into the public eye or just wants her name to stay relevant, she's doing way too much. Let's get into all of it. The question of whether CPS had paid Gypsy a visit in the past, like many people had been saying online, was something she had strongly denied. According to Gypsy, Aurora was fine, and because of that, CPS had never paid them a visit. That wasn't lining up with what people were seeing. Time and time again, Gypsy would go live on social media and viewers could hear Aurora crying in the background. Gypsy wouldn't attend to her. There were even times when she left Aurora behind to go out. One major example being the Post Malone concert. That night led to even more people calling and reporting that Gypsy might be neglecting and mistreating her baby. After denying everything for so long, Gypsy suddenly changed her tune. She came forward with documents she claimed would clear the air, revealing that CPS had actually opened a case against her in the past, though she insisted it was already closed. The documents from the Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services confirmed on April 1st they had received a report about potential neglect and mistreatment of Aurora. However, after investigating, they concluded that there wasn't enough information to support the claims. The case was marked as invalid and not justified. But here's where things got even more suspicious. Around the same time, new rumors were spreading that CPS had recently visited again. This came after Gypsy got off parole and began celebrating in ways many considered reckless. And Ken, her husband, was caught on live video making strange sniffing noises. Each time he did, he turned the camera away, as if trying to hide something. People started assuming he was using substances around Aurora. Ken tried to shut down the rumors, denying that he was using anything. He defended himself by saying that CPS had recently paid them a visit to investigate similar claims, and he wouldn't risk doing anything to put them in danger.
I don't want the negative people to attack a literal child, so I just can't let her be on the internet. But it's a shame because she's so gorgeous. She's so gorgeous.
Yeah, you know you are.
A lot of evil people out there.
Ken Urker insists he is sober, but we know that's not the case. We recently saw Ken Urker in a live defending GRB to the end. He was also shoveling snow. There was clear-cut evidence, y'all, where you could hear the shoveling it. This is enough evidence for CPS to at least go in and investigate, to at least go in, yes, my friends, and request a UA. But the only thing about that is it's out of your system. Depending on how much you use it, it's out of your system pretty quickly. I do know somebody very, very close to Gypsy Rose that says, I don't think GRB would ever touch a rug TikTok. I think she would. And I think she is as, and I feel so bad for this baby. There needs to be intervention, and there needs to be intervention now, because a man that is willing to live stream his evening of night skiing with his family, with his child right there on the slopes.
But here's the twist. While Ken was defending himself based on a recent visit, Gypsy was showing documents about a visit from the past. That exposed the fact that CPS had been involved more than once. If Gypsy truly wanted privacy and had moved on, why did she come out of nowhere to bring up old documents? Especially when she had been denying any involvement for so long. The timing was strange. It almost seemed like she was trying to defend a situation no one had recently asked about, making it look like she was trying to control the narrative. So, what do we take from this? Well, it seems like CPS is watching closely, and the way Gypsy and Ken are behaving doesn't help their case. One has a known history of violent thoughts toward children. Gypsy once said she would have given her daughter to Nick for grooming on her 13th birthday. The other, Ken, is now being seen as irresponsible and reckless. He chose to get involved with someone like Gypsy despite everything we've seen and read, including their prison messages and emails. It was clear even then that Gypsy wasn't someone stable, yet Ken still chose her the moment she walked out of prison. That alone raises questions about his judgment. So now, with CPS visits confirmed and the new rumors piling up, people are rightly concerned for baby Aurora, and Gypsy and Ken's choices seem to keep making things worse instead of better. While trying to defend herself publicly, Gypsy unknowingly exposed the true nature of her relationship with Ken through a series of emails that have recently surfaced. These weren't emails sent to the public or posted on social media. They were private messages from her time in prison, sent to friends, where she opened up in a raw and sometimes cruel detail. In these emails, Gypsy discussed Ken's sexual orientation in a way that many found inappropriate and offensive, especially considering that she claimed to be in love with him at the time. Ken had already addressed the allegations in public last year, saying he had no problem with the LGBTQ community, but that he was not a part of it. He was tired of being labeled and wanted the rumors to stop. However, the emails told a different story. Gypsy wrote that she always felt like Ken might be gay or at least bisexual. She did not stop there. She claimed he lived in the second largest city known for its LGBTQ population, that he had no fun relationships with women, and that even his own mother suspected he liked boys. She said that other women in prison made similar comments after meeting Ken during his visits. Even though she admitted he had no hard evidence, the tone of her emails showed she was fixated on the idea. She seemed obsessed with proving something was off about him, even telling a friend she was still looking for hard proof.
Gypsy Rose exposed Ken's rug use and completely mindfucked. By now, we've seen Gypsy Rose and Ken argued a lot in these exposed prison emails. This is her exposing Ken for using rugs, as well as showing off her manipulation tactics. I'm just going to read this, no commentary, but leave your thoughts below. Seems to have a lack of willpower when it comes to my lover. It was relieved to hear your voice last night, and yes, guess you hit the nail on the head. Did have the fake breakup to get a reaction from you, and freaked out when didn't get the reaction I wanted. Wanted you to chase me, and you didn't. It was a plan to do that. It was done unintentionally, but with the goal to get some validation that you still wanted me. Again, from my heart, and deeply sorry, honey. I love you and want us to go back to normal, start fresh. Forgive you for the night you didn't answer the phone and for getting HIGH. Can you forgive me for being irresponsible with your emotions and for all the conversations with speaking from insecurity that led us to grow so distant? Widens eyes like a puss in the boots. As said, if you could set aside 1 hour of us time, I'm sure it would help bring us closer together again. I love you with all my heart, but I'm gonna say this not as your lover, but as your best friend. I call BS on you wanting space from me in order to do the things you never could with me as a distraction. You're a bad procrastinator. All you do is lay in your bed and watch you on your days off or before work. Never was the thing that stopped you from doing anything except being with other chicks. Was your cheerleader and trying to get your GED, offered to help you study, and busted my ASS off to find little help sheets and study packs to help you. When you wanted to go watch a movie with your friend on date night, let you go without complaint. So really, I'm not sure who convinced you or what clicked that was the problem, when it's really your own laziness to blame. And that's just pure unsugar-coated truth coming from someone who has spent 2 years observing your behavior. Now I'm speaking as your lover. It does sting because everyone told me you were nothing but a hinder to my life and was the one to say different. Gave you nothing but credit to my personal growth, and to hear you say hinder you from your personal growth, that hurts. That was a low blow. And am not taking it wrong, as no, you would say. That's exactly how you said it. Direct quote, because spent so much time with you, couldn't do the things that needed. Just thought we were didn't know you wanted to be a solo act. I'm sorry, was trying to be your partner, but if that's how you really feel, then won't be, and can continue to grow apart instead of growing together. That's what you want and asked for. Remember that. Also want you to know the email sent wasn't to announce we are broken up, because we're not. It was to make people understand we need our privacy right now. I'm still getting people emailing me with congratulations on your wedding plans. And guess for me, it was salt in the wounds of how things have been with us, how I felt. I'm like, stop sending me congrats. I'm happy for you. You must be so happy, and so on. He doesn't want me. He doesn't want to marry me. He only wants his space. Can't keep the relationship together or my man happy, so I'm a failure as a fiance and a woman, so leave me and him alone. Of course, would never flip out on someone just for being nice and giving me their well wishes, so made a simple statement to say, we are taking time apart, and please respect our privacy at this time. That's it. People just assumed we were completely broke up. Don't care about what the groups are saying. My concern is us, getting us back to the basics of why we are together and making our life together even while I am in here.
This did not sound like someone in love. It sounded like someone tearing down their partner behind their back. It did not end there. Gypsy also brought up Ken's health, rating that he was always sick and frequently in and out of the hospital, suggesting that he may be HIV positive. She made these claims without any basis, which was deeply hurtful and stigmatizing. To share these things in private messages while knowing someone might read them someday shows a shocking lack of care for his dignity. And the person she was sharing all this with must have been someone she trusted, because she did not hold back at all. She was not only speculating about his sexual orientation and health status, but also insulting his intelligence. In another email, Gypsy dragged Ken for being a slow thinker, blamed it on the fact that he did not finish high school, and said she believed he might be using substance. That part hit even harder, considering that recent rumors had surfaced about Ken possibly using substances around their child. So, her past accusations were now being seen in a new light. She did not just say these things in private, she also insulted him to his face. In one instance, she told Ken she wouldn't even care if he tried to unalive himself. That kind of comment is beyond cruel, and yet Ken chose to stay. It raises the question, why would anyone stay after being treated like this? Some believe it's because of the financial and social benefits. Back then, Gypsy had her show, books, interviews, and all the attention she was getting. Ken may have seen an opportunity to be part of that. Maybe he thought he could build a life off her name. Maybe the promise of money and relevance outweighed the emotional abuse. But by doing so, he made himself part of the chaos. Staying with someone like Gypsy after seeing her true colors doesn't make him a victim. It makes him complicit. And now the two are raising a child together. This chapter of their relationship sheds light on a pattern that keeps repeating: emotional manipulation, gaslighting, and a constant fight for control. Gypsy's emails weren't just cruel, they were revealing, and they showed us a side of her that many had long suspected was still there. In Gypsy's attempt to go private, she decided she needed something to take up her time while also making some money. Instead of stepping away from public attention like she claimed she would, she tried to rebrand herself as an artist. But this move did not come from a place of passion for art, talent, or a long-held dream. It came from her desire to find another way to profit off her notoriety. She started creating what she called conversational art pieces. However, the timing and approach made it clear that the purpose wasn't expression or healing, it was strategy. She quietly shifted her personal page, Butterfly Kissed Soul, to private. At the same time, she turned her main public TikTok account into a business account and renamed it Blown Beauty Art. This was now the page she used to sell her work. The reaction from the art community and general public wasn't warm. People who had spent years building their platforms, developing their talent, and working hard to grow their audience were frustrated. They saw Gypsy using her social media presence, boosted by her crime and story, to sell art not based on quality or talent, but on fame. Many called it a slap in the face to realize she wasn't growing her following by showcasing skill. She was leveraging the fact that she had 9 million followers from her controversial past as someone convicted in a high-profile murder case. It felt exploitative and unfair, especially in an industry where many struggle to get noticed despite their abilities. What made it worse was the pricing. Gypsy set her prices extremely high. Some pieces were over $120 and the smallest were over $60. And again, this wasn't coming from someone with formal training or artistic credibility. Her pieces were criticized for being messy, inauthentic, and not worth the price. One of them even had gold leaf visibly falling off and paint dripping down the sides with obvious glue lines. When people questioned her pricing, Gypsy responded by using her daughter Aurora as justification. She said, "I spent about $500 at the supply store to be able to do this. These people aren't getting some Dollar General brand, Liquitex brand with premium canvases, shipping boxes, tape, and I cover the shipping cost. So yes, it is expensive. If they want custom color, that's more that comes out of my pocket to be able to meet their requests. So yes, it is fair price for the money that I put in. I took a picture of my receipt from the store and asked AI what should I charge per painting, and that was the suggestion. And not all artists go to school for it. I can walk down the French Quarter and ask the small vendors, hey, do you have a degree in art? And they would probably say no. This is what I can do as a stay-home mom with a 7-month-old. I charge $60 for the small ones because that's how much a can of formula to feed my child is. Do you have kids? How do you feed them if you do? Trolling another mother on the internet? Oh, okay, because that is more respectable than making a dime, not causing grief to someone. Get a hobby, and if it makes you money, then hey, it's a come up. At least by me making paintings, I'm not harming someone's mental health. Have a good day. This response started even more criticism. If she had $500 to spend on supplies, why not spend it on formula to begin with? Why invest so much money in something that wasn't guaranteed to succeed, especially if a child's needs were supposedly on the line? Most small artists wait for orders, use deposits to buy supplies, and grow organically. Gypsy was acting entitled to public support. One commenter wrote, "Don't compare yourself to mothers who go without eating so their kids don't. You are trying to get sympathy or empathy by talking about struggling mothers just trying to feed their kids while you've been bar hopping and traveling. Ha ha ha. Right. Okay." Another added, "You could get a work from home job if this fizzles out. Just saying. Or maybe thought ahead before selfishly having a kid." Those were tough takes, but reflected what many were feeling. Gypsy seemed unwilling to work a traditional job and instead wanted to find a way to keep drifting off her crime story. She fired back again, saying, "Well, that money has come and gone. You don't know my financial situation any more than I know yours. Facts are, I deleted my main TikTok with followers. I quit the media. So what is my source of income now?" Exactly. I'm doing what I can to provide for my child. As much as you all want to believe I have millions, I don't. Don't even talk to me about struggling when the internet is mean as ish and kicks a girl when she is down. I'm many things, but a bad mom ain't one of them. And if I have to sell my clothes and whatever else to feed my kid, I will, and everyone else can kick rocks as long as my kid is fed. She switched gears and leaned into victimhood again, but people weren't buying it. When another commenter suggested she show herself using a paint brush instead of just pouring and blowing paint, someone else chimed in. "You wouldn't know art if you tripped over it." Gypsy then replied, "You know, kindness is free." Which was ironic coming from someone who had publicly dragged Ryan, threw Nick under the bus, disrespected her mother's memory, and called out others cruelly. Suddenly, she wanted kindness, but only when it benefited her. This entire chapter made it clear. The rebrand was not going well. It was genuine. It wasn't genuine, it wasn't built on talent, and the public saw right through it.
Gypsy Rose crashing out, leaving unhinged comments regarding her art business, which went dark on social media. Before I read the comments, real quick for people that don't know, GRB started an art business a few days ago. It's acrylic paint on canvas that she blow dries, and she's charging $135 for each piece. She has gotten a ton of negativity and backlash, people comparing her to Jodi Arias as she makes the same art, people complaining about the quality, the price, that she's profiting off of the unaliving of her mother. So I'm not sure where these comments came from, if it was her video or somebody else's. Okay, Gypsy Rose, I spent about $500 at the supply store to be able to do this. These people aren't getting some Dollar General brand. This is a Liquitex brand with premium canvases, shipping boxes, tape. I covered the shipping costs. She had mentioned the tape, y'all. So yes, it's expensive. If they want custom color, that's more. That comes out of my pocket to be able to meet their requests. So yes, it's fair price for the money that I put in. I took a picture of my receipt from the store and asked what should I charge per size per painting, and that was a suggestion. And not all artists go to school for it. I can walk down the French Quarter right now and ask the small vendors, "Hey, do you have a degree in art?" And they would probably say no. This is what I can do as a stay-at-home mom with a 7-month-old. I charge $60 for the small ones because that's how much a can of formula to feed my child is. Do you have kids? How do you feed them if you do? Trolling another mother on the internet? Oh, okay, because that is more respectful than making a dime, not causing grief to someone. Get a hobby, and if it makes you money, then hey, it's a come up. At least by the making paintings, I'm not harming someone's mental health or harming somebody's literal life. Have a good day. Okay, love this comment. Someone wrote, "Don't compare yourself to mothers who will go without eating so their kids don't. You are trying to get sympathy/empathy by talking about struggling mothers just trying to feed their kids while you've been blar hopping and traveling. Haha, right, okay." Someone said, "You could get a work from home job if this fizzles out, just saying. Or maybe thought ahead before selfishly having a kid." GRB writes, "Well, that money has done come and gone. You don't know my financial situation any more than I know yours. Facts are, I deleted my main TikTok with millions of followers. She probably deactivated it. I quit the media, so what is my source of income now? Exactly, I'm doing what I can to provide for my family. As much as y'all want to believe I have millions, I don't. Don't even talk to me about struggling when the internet is mean as shit and keeps a Roman cheese down. I'm many things, but a bad..."
While Gypsy was still heavily promoting her art and trying to get people to support her newest venture, she suddenly found herself accused of theft. Not theft in the traditional sense, but something more personal, creative, and identity theft. A woman named Trisha on TikTok stepped forward and accused Gypsy of stealing her art brand name, Blown Beauty Art. Trisha, who also runs an art page under the same name, had been building her brand for a while. She claimed that Gypsy must have come across her content or perhaps even seen one of her videos where Trisha had previously criticized her. According to Trisha, instead of addressing the critique, Gypsy allegedly took the name Blown Beauty Art and began using it for her own business. This, she said, was not just an accident or coincidence, it felt intentional. And for Trisha, it was devastating. Trisha then opened up about her background and it became clear just how personal it was to her. She is a domestic violence survivor who had appeared on Dr. Phil. However, unlike Gypsy, she did not get the opportunity to tell her full story on the show. For her, art wasn't just a hobby or a side hustle. It was her healing, her outlet, and her passion. Building her brand, her identity as an artist, was a part of her recovery. To see someone as notorious and widely followed as Gypsy adopt her brand name and style was heartbreaking. She felt overshadowed and erased by someone who wasn't in the art community for the right that Gypsy wasn't making art because she loved it, but because she was desperate to remain relevant and kept monetizing her infamous past. Trisha's criticism did not stop at the name theft. She went deeper into the ethics of Gypsy's public persona. She claimed that Gypsy had lied about the extent of her mistreatment by her mother and was manipulating the public into feeling sorry for. Trisha alleged that Gypsy was profiting off her mother's death, a tragedy that many still struggle to understand, and doing so by exploiting a false or exaggerated narrative. She believed that it was morally wrong for Gypsy to use that pain, real or not, to sell overpriced art and push her new image. Trisha warned others not to support Gypsy's work. In her eyes, this wasn't about cancel culture or online drama. It was about standing up for real survivors and genuine artists who are trying to heal and make a living without exploiting pain or control. She saw Gypsy's actions as another example of someone using their past to shield themselves from accountability while continuing to harm others in subtle but damaging ways. As Trisha's story gained traction, more people began questioning Gypsy's motivation. Was this just another grift in a long line of public reinventions, or was there something even deeper and more manipulative at play? Soon after the accusations of stealing the Blown Beauty name surfaced, Gypsy suddenly announced that she was pausing all new art. She tried to make it seem like it had nothing to do with the controversy, instead blaming it on the demands of motherhood. She posted on Instagram, "Hi friends, I just wanted to share a quick update. I'm currently pausing new custom painting orders for the time. As many of you know, I'm not only an artist but also a full-time mama to my sweet 7-month-old daughter. Balancing motherhood and my art is such a joy, but it also means I need to slow down for a bit to give my best to both. If you already have a custom order placed, don't worry, I will still be completing your piece and getting it shipped out to you as promised. I'm so excited to create something special for you all when I open orders again, and I'll be sure to let everyone know when that time comes. Thank you so much for your patience, understanding, and continued support. Gypsy Rose Blanchard." Right after that, she deactivated the entire art account. If she was just putting orders on hold, why deactivate the account entirely? It seemed more like she was trying to run away from the backlash. And once again, she used her daughter as the excuse, the same way she had used Aurora to justify the high prices of her art piece. First, her daughter was her reason to start painting. Now, she was her reason to quit. Many began to notice the pattern. The same manipulative tactics her mother used once on her were now being mirrored by Gypsy herself. She was using Aurora as a prop for sympathy, just like she had been used years ago. Declaring that she wanted to go private and focus on raising her daughter away from the spotlight, Gypsy made a complete turnaround. Rather than stepping back, she returned to social media with a rebranded identity, this time as a self-proclaimed comedy figure. But her comedy wasn't light-hearted or universally relatable. It was targeted, mocking, and mean-spirited, aimed squarely at those who had criticized her online. She began uploading parody videos in which she impersonated specific content creators who had called her out. These aren't subtle jabs or clever satires. They were all full-on caricatures, mocking everything from the way these individuals spoke to how they looked, dressed, and even their past trauma. The list of those she targeted was long. Keisha, Sweet as Hone, Sweet as Honey, Amber J, a known associate of Ryan, Skip, who allegedly survived time with her. Fancy, a former friend turned outspoken critic, Sam Morbid, a YouTuber known for hosting frequent live streams discussing Gypsy, and Nina, a beauty influencer who had public run-ins with the Blanchards. Gypsy exaggerated voices, overreacted their mannerisms, and liberties with their stories. But the moment that drew and the most outrage came when she mocked Sweet as Honey, making a cruel joke referencing the death of her mother. For someone who had built her platform partly on the trauma of losing her own mother, using someone else's grief for comedic material struck many as heartless, hypocritical, and deeply offensive. What's more, Gypsy did not even upload those videos herself. Instead, she created the content and sent it to her friend Sheena, who then posted them to her own social media account. This calculated move allowed Gypsy to retain plausible deniability. If backlash or legal issues emerged, Sheena would be on the receiving end. Many observers called this behavior exactly what it appeared to be: manipulative, self-serving, and cowardly. Sheena, perhaps thinking she was in Gypsy's inner circle, proudly took on the role of public mouthpiece. But public perception quickly turned. Many believed Sheena was being used, serving as a convenient shield for Gypsy's more controversial actions. If a platform issued a strike, or if a creator filed a copyright or harassment complaint, it would be Sheena held accountable, not the woman who actually made the content. All of this was particularly jarring considering Gypsy had previously spoken out about being a victim of cyberbullying. She had told the world she knew what it felt like to be mocked, belittled, and torn apart online. Yet here she was, not only mocking others but targeting those already marginalized or vulnerable themselves. Her behavior wasn't just ironic, it was a complete reverse of everything she had claimed to stand for. Instead of the mature, reflective version of Gypsy that many hoped to see post-prison, she appeared to be sinking into the same old patterns, deflecting criticism, turning the tables on others, and using allies as pawns in her ever-shifting public image game. Gypsy Rose Blanchard post-prison life has been anything but peaceful. Despite her promises of privacy, healing, and motherhood, her actions tell a different story. She's rebranded herself again and again, from an advocate to an artist to a comedian, and each time she has hurt people, misused her daughter's name, and started controversy. Whether it's hiding behind CPS documents, throwing Ken under the bus, exploiting her child to sell overpriced art, or mocking creators who speak the truth, Gypsy seems to be repeating the same harmful patterns she once claimed to have escaped. At the end of the day, the question remains, is Gypsy misunderstood, or are we just seeing who she really is? Let me know what you think about all this Gypsy drama. Like and subscribe to keep updated on more to come.